CNBC's Jim Cramer is apparently not a fan of Elizabeth Warren, and that shouldn't come as a shock to you. But recently, he talked about the various individuals in the financial sector who are very much concerned about Elizabeth Warren getting elected. Now, she's experiencing a surge right now, and that has some people in the banking industry worried. Cramer's about to talk about that in the next clip. Take a look.
How is it possible that this company cannot find a CEO? I mean, are they worried about Elizabeth Warren attacking that? She or he would be.
Of course they are, and of course that person is. Why wouldn't they be?
I don't know.
If she becomes president, what do you think is going to happen to the banks?
Well, it would be a suboptimal situation for the banks. There were these hearings in the 30s where they brought rich people in front of Congress and just kind of trashed them. It was effective.
Well, it's about 20 years later, we had the least discrepancy in incomes in the 50s and 60s, all right?
I don't know what's going to happen. Look, I've got to tell you, when you get off the desk and you talk to executives, they're more fearful of her winning. I mean, I've never heard anybody say, look, she's got to be stopped.
Well, there have been several people who have spoken to reporters, and they have said that she needs to be stopped. I'm going to give you some of those quotes in just a second, but I don't really understand. Like, that was a weird conversation because they mention, what happened to the bankers after the Great Depression, and then after that there was more income equality, right, or equity, you should say, and they laughed at that. Is that a bad thing? I mean, to them, I guess it is. Mm-hmm. It was a weird exchange, but there's more. Let's just go to the next clip, and then I'll give you some quotes from people in banking. Take a look.
I hear it too, and it's another reason why companies are being implored to do things now. If you want to get something done,
you really think
M&A or anything, think about doing it soon, because come early to mid 2020, if Elizabeth Warren's rolling along, everybody's going to be like, that's it.
So you're hearing it too?
Oh yeah.
It sounds like they're trying to it sounds like when Donald Trump picks on somebody and he's trying to get them hurt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what it sounds like. It's
the whole point of that discussion was to, essentially tell this country's powerful and elite, like, you better get ready because she's doing well in the polls. Like, let me give you the numbers. So the Massachusetts senator is number 2 in the Real Clear Politics polling average with 18% support. Former Vice President Joe Biden is first with nearly 30%, which is unbelievable to me. And then Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders is third with almost 18%. No other candidate is even close to breaking into the top 3. So I always had a little bit of, and it's just speculation, I could be wrong, but the way that I see the media playing it, because the media, the corporate media specifically, doesn't like Bernie or Elizabeth Warren, right? Mm-hmm. But they lately have been very complimentary toward her. And so I was wondering, is this like part of their effort to get Bernie out, right? Like, let's support her, let's really build her up, get him out, and then as soon as it's between Biden and Warren, we'll tear her down. Yeah. And I feel like now I'm starting to see a little bit of the tear down happening. I could be wrong, but
I think it's really interesting. So we have an opportunity to personify Wall Street, because I think when we talk about Wall Street, it's this big, mysterious mass that just has control over our economy. So let's take, for instance, let's just say hedge fund managers. Last year, that industry brought in $7.7 billion, and 2 of their top leaders were Chase Coleman and Izzy Englander, who both brought in over $340 million each. So Elizabeth Warren's ultra wealth tax says that after $50 million, you're only paying 2 cents of every dollar. So take away 50 million of that, put that aside, that's $290 million. 2 cents of each $290 millionth dollar comes to about $5.8 million.
Man, you're
That
good.
still leaves you with $334.2 million.
Yeah.
That's a hefty chunk of change.
Yeah.
With that much, you don't have to take your kids out of that private school. You don't have to give up the country club. You don't have to give up the vacation home.
Right.
You don't have to give up the boat. You don't have to give up the box seats in the opera. You don't have to give up the VIP sports seats. Heck, even your wife, neither your mistress would have to stop shopping on Fifth Ave. Win-win situation.
Yep. So you're absolutely right about that, which gives you a sense of just how unbelievably greedy these individuals are, that they're not willing to give up that tiny bit of money relative to the rest of their wealth to give back to the country that helped them become who they are.
That's why it's important to really have names and numbers, because I think, again, going back to scare tactics, people are like, wow, we're gonna go broke, we're gonna lose everything. And it's like, you lose nothing. Of that 340, you're still taking home $334.2 million at least.
So we're gonna name some names and give you some quotes from people in the financial sector in just a second. But I do wanna help people visualize why it is that this industry is very much worried about Elizabeth Warren, because for all the critics out there, the one thing that you have to give her is that she really shines when it comes to regulating the financial industry and holding them accountable. In fact, let's go to this video which features the former Wells Fargo CEO, John Stumpf, and Elizabeth Warren's grilling him, and this is really a moment where she shined.
Since this massive years-long scam came to light, you have said repeatedly, quote, I am accountable. But what have you actually done to hold yourself accountable? Have you resigned as CEO or chairman of Wells Fargo?
The board, I serve at
Have you resigned?
No, I've not.
All right. Have you returned one nickel of the millions of dollars that you were paid while this scam was going on?
Well, first of all, this was by 1% of our people.
That's not my question. My question is about responsibility. Have you returned one nickel of the millions of dollars that you were paid while this scam was going on?
The board will take care of that.
Have you returned one nickel of the money you earned while this scam was going on?
And the board will do.
I will take that as a no then. Have you fired a single senior executive? And by that, I don't mean a regional manager or a branch manager.
We've made a change in our regional, to lead our regional bank.
I just said, I'm not asking about regional managers. I'm not asking about branch managers. Evidently, your definition of accountable is to push the blame to your low-level employees who don't have the money for a fancy PR firm to defend themselves. It's gutless leadership.
And I mention this all the time. The CFPB was what Elizabeth Warren thought of when she was in school, when she was in college. And she made that happen when she wasn't even an elected official. She pressured the Obama administration, got the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau started, and it has returned so much money, tens of millions of dollars to defrauded Americans. So this is her strong suit, and I'm glad that you're hearing from these bankers who are worried about her. I am worried about the media machine and how it's attempting to drive a wedge between Warren and Bernie. I think it would be dumb for them to give into that and to start attacking each other. I think we have bigger fish to fry right now.
I was so livid when Susan Sarandon tried it. I was like, sis, have a seat. Because we don't need that. When media has asked Warren about Biden, about Bernie, they are just trying to get her to come out. And she's like, look, my focus is on the American people. My focus is on how I'm going to restore economic opportunity and dignity to these families all across the United States.
Yeah.
And I personally think that seeing Bernie and Elizabeth Warren take these people out together goals, because at the end of the day, whoever wins the primary is the candidate that I'm going to get behind. And I think it's important for Bernie supporters, Warren supporters, not to take the bait. Do not take the bait. Like Twitter was on fire the other day around all of these like different conversations that were happening. And so I'm so afraid that if we don't get our stuff together, we're gonna have a repeat of 2016.
I agree with that. And I just think that when look at the optics, right?
Yeah.
3 straight white men coming for Elizabeth Warren on television, haughty. They're very haughty. They think that they can just say, it's the snark, the smug, and it is coming for a woman that is only concerned with the facts, right? She's got no fluff to her. She's not trying to be down. She ain't trying to kick it with Beyonce. She ain't walking around with hot sauce in her purse. She is just absolutely trying to say, America is on fire and I got a fire extinguisher and let me show you how I'm gonna use it. So these three haughty dudes, then you see her talking to the white man and he's so accustomed to answering questions in that manner where he doesn't have to answer the questions that he feels like he still doesn't have to answer the question.
He's a little shocked.
Yeah,
like,
he's like
tripping.
How
he's
dare
tripping
you?
on his own words because wait, am I being asked like tough questions right now? Like I'm used to
Do
being
you not
treated-
see this bandaged hand right here? Like you wouldn't like question a man with a bandaged hand, would you?
They weren't doing that before. There weren't cameras there watching. We're vigilant now of what's happening, and we're watching everything that's going on. And now they're like, wait, I've been getting away with this for so long. Why do I have to answer to her? And so a lot of people get mad and say, oh, this is not about gender. Yes, it is. And when we talk about, you cannot like Hillary Clinton, you cannot like Kamala Harris, you cannot like Elizabeth Warren, but women are held to a higher standard and a different standard than men when they run. They have to be, she has been paying for Pocahontas, and the man that said, grab him by the you know what, I don't even have to repeat it, is in office.
Right.
And if there is no evidence of the foolishness that we have had to face as women in this country and with our government, we have to protect her from that, because the way they dismantled Hillary, they dismantled that woman. The way they dismantled her, and you can be in complete opposition with someone's politics without coming for them as human beings.
There isn't the perfect candidate either. I think there's this thing where it's like, oh, they're perfect. Nobody's perfect. Not a single person on that platform. But the thing is, who's willing to have a conversation to do better? And I also think it's worth pointing out that there's another reason why they're coming for Warren that many of us are missing. She denounced the Republican Party as someone who was formerly in the party. So she knows where the bodies are buried.
Yeah.
So she is coming for their necks. Like, she's not just talking about these theories or ideologies or like things that are conspiracies. She knows some of these people. She's seen the way that they work. She knows like what kind of plant they have on their desk, what picture they have of their wife and kids. She knows. So the relationships are there. And so I think really what we're seeing is her figuring out a way to not only get that information to the public, but to also start holding people accountable by name and not just by a party.
But I want to beg the people, just this. If you don't get mind screwed into anything else, what you said, watch the people who keep their focus on the American people. And you will find your candidate instead of, well, such and such did this, and what about when you did this? And who's that one? Keep your eye on the people who have their eye on you.
She wore white after Labor Day, and like it's just like, come on, like I think those are all distractions to your.
And I leave you with one quote because I promised I would give you some from people in the financial sector. This is Tim Anderson from TJM Investments, and this is during an interview with Vox. Tim says her administration would have a very antagonistic approach toward the financial services industry, and it would not be good for the economy or financial markets. Voting for Trump in 2020 would be a no-brainer. But that's where they're at.
No people. It doesn't say anything about the people.
It's all about the money, exactly.
On the go? Don't worry, we got you covered. You can still listen to TYT at our new podcast network. Find us on Apple Podcasts, the Google Play Store, or at tyt.com/podcasts.